Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at the Pentagon challenge, which is something that's a lot more famous in Football Manager than it is FIFA, but you can still implement the rules and perform a Pentagon challenge in FIFA pretty easily. So you probably know what a pentagon is. It's five-sided shape, and that's the challenge here, is to win a trophy in all 5 continents that are on FIFA. Of course, there's no African leagues in FIFA. There are a few teams, but there's not a full league. So what you'll have to do here is win the World Cup with an African team. This is probably the hardest part of the whole challenge, so I would advise you probably save it to be the last challenge you do. But where should you start? In my opinion, you should start with Wellington Phoenix in Australia, who are actually a team based in New Zealand, but play in the Australian League. So you'll have to win the A-League with Wellington because there's no other league that any Oceanian team can win. It's a fairly easy one to win. You should be able to do it with sort of 70 to 80 rated players if you use your youth academy well. It should take you maybe 1 or 2 seasons to do this, but if you're extra good, 1 season is pretty easy. Your next step in your career will likely to be an Asian league. So there's a couple to choose from, as I'm sure you know. There's Japan, China, South Korea, or you can just stay in the Australian League and choose someone like Sydney and try and beat your Wellington Phoenix team. Again, this should be fairly easy, as there's not much challenge in any of these Asian leagues, except maybe China, where there's a few good players. This should take you maybe 1 or 2 more seasons, so you'll be about 3 or 4 now. You'll be wanting to move to North America or South America next, depending on which one you think you'd prefer to do. So for North America, you have either the Mexican or the American leagues. I've talked plenty about the MLS, so if you want to learn a bit more about this, feel free to go through my channel and you'll see some more videos on the MLS. If you do choose the South American route, you have a few teams in Colombia, and you have also the Argentinian and Brazil leagues that you can choose from. Of course, the Brazil leagues don't have real players, but the Argentinian league is probably the one you're going to want to pick. After you've done both the North and South America, it's time to move to Europe. This is probably around 5-6 seasons in, and I would recommend you try and move to maybe a mid-table team just to stretch the challenge out a little bit more. Of course, if you can move straight to Barcelona, which is unlikely given that your team probably won't be too great in North or South America, you can do that if you'd like, but the challenge now is to try and get that African national manager's job while you're trying to win a league in Europe. Of course, there is World Cups in 26 and 30 and 34 if you need to take that long, but if you're playing in Europe, probably I would focus my youth academy on signing players for whichever national team job you can find. So that's pretty much the whole challenge. You start off in probably Oceania or Asia, move around to North and South America while finishing off in Europe and getting the international manager's job in Africa. Winning some of the leagues might take you a bit longer, but always keep an eye out for that international job because it can be quite rare to get a job offer from a certain country after you get to a certain level of team. Of course, both Europe and South America have Champions Leagues that are licensed in the game, and I believe the Asian Cup is represented with an unlicensed tournament when you're playing in Europe. So it could be worth trying to win all 3 of these as well to make the challenge last a little bit longer and make sure you get a bit more attached to the teams you pick. The goal of this challenge is to try and make you use nations and teams that you've probably never used in the past. I know not a lot of people have used an A-League team, and I do have some videos coming out soon if you want to wait before you do it, on how the A-League is actually one of the most fun leagues in the whole of FIFA to use at the start. Another quite interesting thing you can do throughout the whole of this career is try and take one player with you all the way through. If you could take a New Zealand player from New Zealand to Japan to Brazil to America to England for example, he would probably be one of the most famous players New Zealand's ever had. But if you want to do that with your own nation, then feel free to do that too. Throughout this challenge, you'll probably be creating youth players at the teams you're managing, so by the time you get to the World Cup in 2030, the chances are some of the players you're playing against will be from your own youth academy, so you'll be playing against players that you actually raised and developed into superstars, and I think that's a pretty good way to close off the whole career mode. Of course, with the career mode ending in 36, that gives you a World Cup in 22, 26, 30 and 34 to have a go at this, so 4 chances to win the World Cup with an African team if you can manage to get a job that early in 22, and I think you should be able to do the challenge pretty easily. Let me know which teams and which routes you chose through this career mode challenge, and I'd love to hear any more about this if you message me on my Discord. There's already a couple of people on there who are sending screenshots of their career mode, and it's pretty interesting to see how they're going. For example, someone's just won the league with Valencia, and I found it pretty interesting to see how they're getting on. So if you feel like you want to share this with someone, then I'm always there on Discord to have a look at your screenshots. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you want to see a few more career mode challenges like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.